Good afternoon. Welcome to this afternoon's ADEA webinar that will describe the Academic Dental Careers Fellowship Program, affectionately known as ADCFP. We waited just a few minutes to start to make sure that everyone had a chance to join, and it looks like a number of folks are joining the webinar now. I will just mention that this webinar is being recorded, and at the conclusion, we will post the webinar on the ADCFP webpage on the ADEA website. My name is Jeff Stewart. I'll be guiding you through the webinar describing the ADCFP this afternoon. I'm the Senior Vice President for Interprofessional and Global Collaboration here at ADEA. And again, welcome to the webinar. Let's start off by talking a little bit about the history of the ADCFP. This was a fellowship program that began in 2006, courtesy of a startup grant from the ADEA Foundation. And the purpose of the program at its inception was to create a situation where a dental student or fellow would be able to connect with a faculty mentor in order to provide that student with experiences and insight into what the day-to-day life of a faculty member consists of. The program was administered and supported by ADEA. The program was successful. However, due to the funding nature, the program was only available to a small number of students at only select dental schools. So recently, ADEA has re-envisioned the program in order to try to make the program more available to larger numbers of students at just about any dental school or allied program or any institution for which we have learners present. So the program objectives for the students are to provide them with the opportunity to explore potential career pathways within academic dentistry. We also hope to be able to imbue the students with some training that is specific to teaching and research. And then finally, to expand their networks, not only amongst their peers, but also professional networks among their faculty members in order to enhance their engagement with their faculty. Objectives for the faculty and institutions, as represented by the faculty mentors, are to improve the institution's capacity to broaden the pipeline of students that are potentially interested in academic careers, and also to enhance those faculty members' ability to implement and support or foster a culture of teaching and research excellence at their institution. Talk a little bit about some of the specifics of the program. At each institution, a coordinator that we refer to as a liaison is elected or self-selected. Last year, we had some schools who elected multiple liaisons to coordinate the program at their schools. And these liaisons are responsible for recruiting faculty and student mentor pairs. We asked the liaisons to begin the program in May of 2019. This is somewhat flexible, however. Some schools choose to begin the program at a different point in time in the calendar. Some schools choose to align the ADCFP more closely with their academic calendars, and this is certainly fine. As you'll learn this afternoon, one of the main features of the program is that it should be flexible and customizable to meet the needs of each school's program, and that would be the needs of their students as well as the needs of their faculty. Last year, we had schools where there was as few as one faculty-student mentor pair to 23 faculty-student mentor pairs. So in this collaborative effort, the ADCFP liaison and the faculty mentors are charged with providing a positive and engaging experience for student fellows, while at the same time creating a critical mass for all of the students that might be interested in pursuing academic dental careers. Let's talk a little bit more specifically about each of the three types of program participants. We'll start off with the ADCFP Liaison, then we'll talk a little bit about the roles of the faculty mentors and the student fellows. As I mentioned, the ADCFP Liaison is a faculty member who is charged with serving as the primary contact with ADEA. They are the main person with which ADEA communicates regarding the program at their institution. And we also ask the liaisons to convey issues back to us that may arise in their particular programs, particularly those best practices that they are developing that may be beneficial to programs at other schools and institutions. So in general, the liaison serves as the ambassador of the program at the institution. The liaison is not expected to be a day-to-day manager of the faculty-student mentorship pairs. For those faculty members who might be interested in initiating an ADCFP at their institution, we ask that they attend a 4-hour mandatory training session at the 2019 ADEA annual session. This year, this training session is scheduled on Monday, March 18th. There's a 2-hour session in the morning, followed by a shorter session in the afternoon. In between noon and 1:30, we would recommend that the trainees attend the ADCFP poster session, which is a dedicated session at the annual session for those students that will have completed the ADCFP program during this particular academic year. We really only require that one person from each institution attend the training. Preferably, this would be the faculty member who is going to serve in the capacity as the ADCFP liaison. But certainly, any other faculty member from the institution would be welcome to attend the training as well. So additional responsibilities for the liaison is to provide, again, communication through ADEA, and occasionally ADEA will provide informational PowerPoints that we would ask the liaison to share with the faculty and students at their institution. The liaison also is responsible for arranging meetings in order to answer questions at their institution from students and faculty members who might be interested in participating in the program. And then also importantly, the ADCFP liaison is charged with remaining in touch with us here at ADEA, in particular informing us of the student mentor teams for the program in each of the years. Let's move on now to looking at the roles and responsibilities of the faculty mentor. So this is the faculty person who has the direct contact and responsibility of working most closely with the student fellow. And as such, this faculty member works with the fellow to create their action plan. The faculty mentor meets regularly, at least twice a month, with the student fellow. We recommend that these meetings are held in person, although we recognize that occasionally a virtual meeting might be necessary. As the name implies, this faculty member provides mentorship to the student fellow, as well as logistical assistance along the way with their program, specifically in terms of any of their teaching or research projects that they may be engaged in. And then, of course, this is the person who's primarily responsible for managing the fellow's progress in the program and providing feedback to the student fellow regarding the different projects that they are engaged with as part of their own ADCFP. Our recommendation is that the faculty members are faculty members who are present at the institution in person at least one day per week, and also will have the time at minimum to every other week meet with the student to help them with their progress through their program. These faculty members may be faculty members who are primarily involved in teaching lecture-based didactic courses, clinical courses, or preclinical courses for that matter. Or the faculty mentor may be a faculty member who is more involved in conducting clinical, educational, or biomedical research. Stop here just briefly. We mentioned the annual session and the training that occurs for the faculty liaison. Just want to be sure that everyone is aware that registration is now open for next year's 2019 annual session, which will be held in Chicago. And currently, it's early bird registration, so a reduced rate for registering before Friday, January the 25th of 2019. Let's turn our attention now to the student fellow. Generally, we see that programs are developed so that the activity for the student fellows generally occurs from May through December, giving the student a few months before the March ADEA annual session to work on the completion of their final project. Who is eligible as a student? Well, essentially all students are eligible to participate in the ADCFP. Pre-doctoral students at any of the D1 through D4 years, allied dental students, and advanced education students are all eligible. Any student who's interested in learning more about an academic career in dentistry, including aspects of teaching or research. The student fellow usually identifies their interest in whether or not they want to pursue a scholarly project either in a teaching track, so more of an educational or clinical research project, or alternatively, a basic science biomedical project that would be referred to as the research track. ADEA has applications that can be utilized for the students applying to the program, or each institution can create their own application, customized to the needs of the program at your institution. Some schools use this application merely as an informational form, just to get information about the students that will be participating in the program. Other students' participation in the program is a competitive process where the forms are actually used in order to rate the students or rank the students and in a competitive manner choose the students that will participate in the program that year. That's entirely up to each school as to whether or not they want this to be an informative application or a competitive application. Now we're going to talk about some of the program components that have been used at various schools and institutions in past programs. This essentially is referred to as the ADCFP Fellow Guide. And again, I want to emphasize that one of the hallmarks of this program is that it should be flexible and customized to the needs not only of the school and institution, but also to the needs and desires of the student fellows themselves. So each fellow and faculty mentor pair really have the ability to design their own experience, their own program component, choosing either some of the program components that ADEA will have listed for you, or completely design their own program and design their own projects. We do, however, recommend that at a minimum, each student fellow is expected to meet with their faculty mentor twice a month. We recommend that the student fellow have their action plan completed early in the course of the program. And again, for most schools, this would be around May or June of next year. We also ask that as a component of the program, the student is required to write a number of reflection papers. And of course, it's very important that they complete some form of a scholarly project, whether or not that's biomedical science, educational research, or clinical research. So these are some of the program components that have been used by schools and institutions in the past. In addition to the action plan that the student and their faculty mentor create, there are the bi-monthly meetings between the student fellow and their mentor, the collection of the reflection essays that the student creates during the program, interviews with other faculty and administrators at their school and institution, the teaching practicum that the student engages in, the scholarly work that the student engages in, and then we'll talk toward the end about a poster presentation and what would constitute the final portfolio for the student fellow. The action plan really is intended to provide a brief description of what will be the final culminating poster research project, as well as a timeline to complete this project, as well as the other professional and personal goals that the student fellow intends to achieve. As mentioned before, each student fellow faculty mentor pair really has considerable latitude in designing their own program, of course in coordination with ADEA and under the supervision and approval of the ADCFP Liaison at the school and institution. Really, the main purpose is for the program to be designed so that it will meet the goals of the student fellow. This is an example of an action plan. You'll notice that it includes a number of items, including the personal objectives of the student, the meeting schedule with the faculty mentor, reflection essays. They should already be thinking about those faculty and perhaps administrators that they intend to interview during the year. They should be thinking about the teaching assignments and the scholarly project description. And then we'll mention at the end some other activities that some schools and institutions have included in their ADCFP programs for their students. Again, it's very helpful for this plan to be developed at the outset of the program so that everything is clearly defined and there are clear, achievable, and measurable goals. At the annual training session, we will have examples of past action plans available for the liaison trainees to review. Let's talk about some of the specifics of the action plan, and beginning with the personal objectives. These can be as few as 2 to 3 objectives, and the measures, the assessments that will measure the achievement of those objectives, or there could be more. Again, this will depend upon what the student fellow and their faculty mentor agree upon. The personal objective section should also include some expectations about what will be the experiences that will define the program, what are the personal goals of the student fellow. This would also be a place to identify the teaching activity or the biomedical research project. The teaching activity could include work on developing a syllabus, developing course objectives for a course, providing a lecture, providing a seminar, providing a lunch and learn for student peers, or perhaps developing an assessment tool for a course. The research practicum examples would include either the design of a new research project or potentially work on a project that their faculty mentor is currently engaged with. Another example here could be a lunch and learn for students around some type of a research initiative as well. We're often asked whether or not a student fellow can have more than one faculty mentor, and the answer is certainly yes. And this is one area where, in some instances, it's beneficial for the student to have a co-mentor who is more explicitly focused on helping the student work through their research project. As we mentioned earlier, the bi-monthly meetings between the student fellow and their faculty member are very, very important. And that's why we believe that these meetings should occur in person, although, again, recognizing that occasionally it might be necessary to meet virtually. These should be significant meetings, 30 minutes or so in length, but they don't need to be longer than that. And the faculty mentor should be clear with the fellow that they expect them to be prepared coming into these meetings with questions about their program, questions in general about academic careers, and bringing information that will update the faculty mentor on the progress that they're making throughout their program. Again, we know that the evidence shows us that this is the most crucial aspect of the program. It's well known that one of the most important factors in causing students to consider and perhaps ultimately pursue an academic career really rests on a one-to-one relationship that they develop with a faculty mentor during their own education. So we believe that this aspect of the program where the student and the faculty member meet regularly is an important aspect of perhaps influencing the student to pursue an academic career. We really recommend that these meetings should never be canceled. It's always possible, of course, to reschedule them, have them be shorter than 30 minutes, and even, as I mentioned, have them be virtual. But it's important not to cancel these meetings. We've mentioned career reflection essays. We recommend that the student prepare a reflection essay on their career at the beginning of their program and then at the end of their program that will be included in their final portfolio. And these are just some thoughts. These are some questions or comments that might be posed to a student fellow as they're assigned their initial and then their final reflection essay. This would be a situation where the student would be asked to reflect on why they might be interested in an academic career. What are their priorities for the professional component of their life, and why might an academic career help them meet these professional priorities? And then this would be a good time for them to begin to attempt to articulate what their values and preferences and principles are regarding the concept of being an educator. It'd be very interesting to contrast this with the same reflection at the end of their experience, at which time they might also describe their impressions now that they've gone through the program of what it is like to be a dental educator, and maybe discuss not only the motivations and positive aspects, but maybe some of the challenges that they've discovered as they associate with choosing an academic career. We mentioned that many students also engage in interviews of their faculty and administrators as a means to learn more about the day-to-day activities and the roles of an academic dental educator. This could be a wide range of individuals that span early faculty, young, new faculty members, to mid-career faculty, to late career faculty. These would be perhaps clinical faculty, preclinical faculty, basic science faculty. It would be also useful to include interviews with a variety of individuals that hold administrative positions, from chairs of departments or program directors to assistant and associate dean, and even the dean of the dental school. We've even had some students interview administrators from the university at the higher levels as well. I'm not going to read these questions. These will be available to you as the archived webinar when it is posted on the ADCFP webpage. I think these are fairly straightforward questions that we would all want to have the student fellows ask a faculty member or an administrator, including asking them why do they like what they're doing? What are the satisfying aspects of their job? On the other hand, what are the least satisfying aspects of their job? Maybe ask these people why they got interested in an academic career. How were they influenced to pursue this type of a career? Again, these questions will be available for review on the archived webinar. These will also be discussed in greater detail and examples provided during the training session at the annual session next March. This is where the faculty mentor will work with the student fellow before the interviews to make sure that they have an appropriate list of questions prepared, helping the student understand perhaps why they're asking these particular questions. Again, these interviews, like the bi-monthly meetings between the fellow and the mentor, don't need to be long, probably no more than 45 minutes and maybe closer to 30 minutes. We do recommend that the student fellow actually record information and prepare a short report that highlights the interview that they've just completed. And then finally, here's another opportunity for the student to write a reflective paper just kind of an overall impression of the themes and information that they identified in talking with people in different stages of their academic careers. Let's talk a little bit about the aspects of a potential teaching track practicum. Again, this is very flexible. This is not prescribed by ADEA. We do recommend that the faculty liaison work with the faculty mentors to ensure that there is a fairly standard baseline approach to what would be expected of a student pursuing the teaching track practicum. But again, this should be very much customized to the needs of the student. At least one teaching experience for each semester would be recommended, which could occur in any of the variety of educational settings that we have at our school. Some students may wish to provide a lecture in a didactic course. Others may wish to have educational experiences in preclinical courses. Or in some schools where senior level students might have the opportunity to actually have some clinical teaching experiences. Small group conferences, seminars, again, lunch and learns, these are all possibilities and entirely up to each school and faculty liaison as to what they would recommend for their student fellow. An example of how the student fellow and the faculty mentor would work together to prepare for a teaching practicum, in this case the example being either a classroom or small group seminar. The fellow would be responsible for developing the objectives, the content of the seminar, any PowerPoints or handouts that would be utilized would also be developed by the fellow, while the mentor would help the student fellow guide the topic selection. The fellow would review the objectives and the PowerPoint with the mentor and arrange for a rehearsal to occur. The mentor would be present at this rehearsal and help the student with their run-through prior to their formal presentation. Sometimes the faculty mentor would be better suited to make some of the logistical arrangements for the lecture or the seminar. And we do also ask that the mentor be sure that they are available to be present and to observe the presentation by the student fellow in order to provide the type of feedback that would be beneficial to the student. We would also suggest that the student would be responsible for developing an assessment tool associated with their presentation. This would not only be an assessment tool that would be delivered to the participants in the experience, but also an assessment tool for themselves so that they can do some self-assessment of their work. Of course, the faculty mentor would provide helpful feedback in this area, and the mentor would also be responsible for providing assessment of the student's performance. The student who chooses to pursue a more traditional biomedical scientific research project, the protocol would be just identical to what you would expect for the development of a protocol for any type of biomedical science research project. The focus and title of the project, the rationale, the study design methodology should be described. Of course, the research questions and the hypotheses that are being tested, and very importantly, very clearly stated roles and responsibilities for the student fellow in the project, especially if the project is being overseen by a co-mentor other than the primary faculty mentor, just so that everyone's clear on what the desired outcomes are and who's responsible for completing which aspects of the project. I mentioned that some schools and institutions recommend and provide other activities for student fellows other than those that we've discussed already. In particular, some schools and institutions ensure that the student fellows have an opportunity to attend an academic meeting as an observer. This might be a school meeting, such as a committee meeting of a curriculum committee or a research committee or a IRB committee. These might be other interdepartmental meetings or interdepartmental meetings. Many student fellows have the opportunity to participate at university level committee meetings. And really, it's wonderful when there's the opportunity for the student fellow to attend with their faculty mentor, either a local or regional or perhaps a national conference, and the opportunity to attend those together so that the faculty mentor can help the student fellows see the proceedings and activities of these meetings through their eyes as an academic dentist as well. Again, another opportunity here for the fellow to write a reflection paper for each of these meeting experiences. So in addition to the two career reflection papers that we mentioned previously, one at the beginning of the program and one at the end of the program, we should also always be looking for opportunities to have the students reflect on their experiences in the different aspects of the program as they proceed through the program. And we think that at least 3 reflection papers on some of these more specific experiences are ideal. Other possible activities of a student would include aspects of networking. These could be in the form of informal meetings, perhaps early in their program initiated by the faculty mentor, but later in the program, these might be informal meetings that the student fellows themselves might be able to initiate. This could take the form of monthly meetings among all of the student fellows at the school or institution. These meetings could be led by each of the faculty mentors at different times. This would be an opportunity for the students not only to network, but they can discuss and share their experiences of the program. It's an opportunity to invite guest lecturers to speak on a variety of topics. And again, another opportunity for the students to reflect on their experiences. Sometimes the faculty liaisons arrange for meetings to occur with the team of faculty mentors that are working with the students in a given year, so that the faculty mentors can also network and share their experiences and best practices as they're working with their individual student fellows. This is another opportunity for students to work in a team, providing some type of an educational experience, perhaps a lunch and learn, exposing other students to the possibility of considering academic careers and making them aware of the ADCFP that they are participating in. Some schools create a journal club, and the student fellows are responsible for reviews of journal articles that, on different topics that are assigned to them or that they develop on their own. And again, we can have some examples of this that will be provided to faculty members that might be interested in becoming liaisons at your institution. These can be provided to you during the training session at the annual session in March. We've alluded to a poster project. We strongly encourage that all student fellows, as they are completing the program, that they prepare some form of a poster presentation. It can focus on a variety of topics. Obviously, the poster will include information that is derived from their experiences going through the ADCFP. These are just some examples. This is not intended to be limited. Some students provide a poster that describes their teaching assignments and the assessment of their teaching assignments, what they learned about teaching from an instructor's perspective as opposed to a student's perspective. Other students prepare a poster that summarizes their impressions and their findings about academic dental careers that were derived from their faculty and administrator interviews. And then finally, perhaps the most common poster is a poster that provides a synopsis of their scholarly project, whether it was an educational scholarly project, a clinical project, or a biomedical science project. ADEA offers the opportunity for students who are completing the program to have the option to present their poster at the annual session. So for students that would be beginning the program next spring, they would have the opportunity to present their poster presentation at the 2020 ADEA annual session. This is not a requirement for completion of the fellowship program, however. It's just an opportunity that for those students that are able and for those schools that are able to support their students to attend the annual session, it provides a forum for those students to not only present their poster, but to meet other student fellows from other schools and institutions that have completed the program as well. Although this is optional to have the student present their poster at the annual session, we do strongly encourage that the faculty liaisons and faculty mentors arrange that each student fellow has the opportunity to present their poster at a venue at their home institution. This is meant to provide them with an opportunity to share with other faculty and their peer students the fruits of their hard work. And also, it's an important way to continue to build the excitement about the ADCFP at your school and institution, encouraging other students to participate in the upcoming years. Oftentimes, this poster presentation occurs at a research day or a similar event that the school sponsors for students to present this type of information. And then the final portfolio. This is really the accumulation of all of the documentation that the student has created based on their experiences going through their own ADCFP. So these are the elements. These are the experiences and the documentation of the experiences that we've been talking about so far. Their action plan will be in their final portfolio, a log of the meetings between the student fellow and the faculty mentor, including observations and outcomes from those meetings, the summary of the faculty and administration interviews, all of their career reflection essays, as well as the reflection essays that they prepare throughout the course of their program. There should be elements of their teaching assignment, the schedule, the description of the activity, what was the fellow's role in the teaching activity, and then, of course, any components, any PowerPoints, any handouts that the student developed should be included in their final portfolio. Of course, assessments of the students' teaching activities, both peer assessment, self-assessment, and mentor assessments should be included. And as I mentioned, any PowerPoints or handouts, other collateral material that the student prepared for their teaching activity should be included. And then finally, regardless of the type of scholarly project, the protocol of the project and a final report, the outcomes of the scholarly project that the student completed, represent an important component of their final portfolio, all of which informs the poster presentation that the student develops, and the final component of their portfolio would be a copy of the poster that they prepared. So as we conclude, just a few important dates to remind you about. For those of you that are interested in attending annual session and attending the faculty liaison training session, early bird registration is open now and extends until January 25th of 2019. Please let me know as soon as possible, by February the 8th, if possible, if you're intending to attend the annual session and the ADCFP Liaison training session. You can email me just to let me know that you're coming, so that we are prepared to greet you and ready for you to go through the training session. Faculty liaisons can begin recruitment of faculty mentor student fellow pairs as early as the winter term, beginning as early as February, but these should be complete no later than the spring, so that the student fellow has adequate time to pursue a meaningful and rich ADCFP program. Skip down to the fact that this coincides with the fact that we want to be sure to give the faculty mentor and student fellow adequate opportunity to develop their action plans that will outline their ADCFP experience, so that these can not only be completed but can be approved through whatever mechanism you decide to put into place at your institution for the approval of the ADCFP experiences for each student. And then finally, again, just remember that during the annual session on March 18th, we will have this faculty liaison training session for those of you who might be interested in initiating an ADCFP program at your school and institution. So I'm going to stop at this point. You see my contact information. I'm happy for you to email me at any point in time if you have any additional questions as you consider this